In this video, you're going to learn 3 important communication techniques. Communication is the most important thing here. When you're drawing for other people, you have to get a drawing to speak for itself. So 3 ways that people who draw do this is figuring out a way to describe movement, figuring out a way to describe certain ideas, and then for people who work in the 3D world, what do these objects look like in the 3D world? Okay, so let's start with the first one, movement. Let's imagine that I need to describe something that I'm building to someone that's new to my idea. And let's say that something is this wooden toy car. And I need to describe how this car should move. So what I will do is begin drawing an arrow. And this arrow could be flat or it could be 3-dimensional, simply by adding a few more lines. So that's the main idea. Let's maybe add some text. Great. Now we have indicated a direction, and you can get creative with this because let's say I want to bend that arrow to indicate revolutions, right? Now you can get into some really interesting things. So that's movement. Now let's talk about annotation, because you just kind of got a preview of what annotation is like. So let's say that I am building a new coffee mug, and I need to explain to someone that this coffee mug is poorly drawn, but we'll do the trick as long as it communicates that it's a coffee mug. All right, so one way that we can annotate is by adding these like motion lines saying this is the handle. This handle is very smooth. And then if I want, I can draw a side view of that handle to better explain what I mean when I say this handle is very smooth. So you can do this for everything. So maybe I want to say, I don't know, 2 millimeters. Let's say that I kind of want to say that it's made of ceramic. So that's how you can annotate your drawings. Let's go with the next one, which is surfaces in 3D. I kind of just gave you a little bit of a preview of what I'm going to talk about with the coffee mug. So let's imagine that we have a surface here, a rectangle. Now, this rectangle looks flat. So what can we do to make this a little bit more curvy? Let's say that I want to do this. Wait a minute. Something like, this is terrible. All right, so something like that. It still looks a little weird, right? Yeah, it does. So how can we fix it? How can we make it communicate, a smooth surface? Well, one thing we can do is add contour lines. If you do this, you begin to communicate how this surface flows. Now, let's say that there's a little bump here. I can indicate that with a dimple like this, right? And you can do the same for, let's say, a sphere, right? This looks flat. But what if we begin to add contour lines? Suddenly, you begin to understand that this is a sphere and not a circle. Same thing with, say, some odd shape here. And then I could just say that this is kind of a curve surface. So this is a weird shape, but I can indicate surfaces with contour lines. Now you can get really elaborate with contour lines, but like I said before, as long as your sketch communicates what you're trying to communicate, you don't need to really worry about having really nice sketches unless you want to like push yourself to go there. But for my purposes, as long as you can communicate, that's a success. So those were surfaces in 3D. I hope you enjoyed. Hey, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you just saw. Feel free to drop a comment below, and if you want to see more of this kind of content, consider subscribing. See you in the next one.